Were you laid off of work? Were you fired? Were you injured and you could no longer work? Are you in a situation where you've been committed to a job, dedicated, worked there for multiple years like I have, but now you're faced with no income? You're terrified because you got bills, you got mortgage, you got rent, you have to pay for your car, you have to put food on the table, take care of your kids, creating anxiety, frustration, hopelessness, fear, anger, all these wrapped up in one. We're in the same boat. So my name's Leo, and I've worked 17 years in healthcare and pharmacy. And recently I just got let go of a job. And it wasn't due to anything that I did wrong. It was the fact that I actually got hurt. So I got laid off. I got hurt because the type of work that I do requires me to use my hands. I'm in compounding pharmacy, so I work at a hospital. And what we did is make chemotherapy by hand, all those IV bags that you might see on TV shows and things like that. And we had to make those by hand for cancer kids. And so because kids come in all different sizes and shapes, you can't, it has to be drawn up by hand because some doses are so small that if you're off by 1 milliliter or more, you could really hurt a patient. And so I was doing this job for 17 years, something I took pride in, helping kids out, helping them get better so they could go out and play and live a normal life. The problem is my body can't take it no more. I'm almost 40 years old and my hands are injured. I can't grab and grasp and pinch the way I used to. Every time I do it, it hurts. I can't do the things I like to do. I can't play golf. I can't ride motorcycles. I can't even barely play volleyball or anything like that because my hand starts hurting. Now, with that and doing all these things that I was trying to do at work, it created a lot of situations in my head that I'm perceiving would play out, and they didn't. So now I'm no longer in the team. I don't see anyone that I'm used to seeing anymore, and my daily routine and cycles totally flipped on its head. I don't have to get up at 5 in the morning to drive to work anymore. I don't have to clock in. I don't have to clock out. But now everything's all on me. So I have to get to work, figure out what I want to do, and make things happen so I could put food on the table and pay the bills. So my biggest fear was not having a steady income. Anyone else, everyone's slave to the system. They need that W-2, that every paycheck every 2 weeks. They need those benefits for healthcare, all those coverages that you need so you could get better and you don't have to pay out of pocket. It's one of the biggest fears for people in my age group to not have that security, to not know that they're going to be taken care of. But along the way, things change. And when you leave a situation, whether you get laid off or you get hurt, you learn that everything's going to be okay. Because yeah, it might suck in the temporary. The suckiness is only temporary and it will pass. You'll have the ability to move forward, create something new that you enjoy. You get to reinvent yourself and figure out what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you like, what you don't like. Try to figure out who you are now in the midst of everything that happened. Because I know during this time frame of not having a job, I felt like I lost my identity. This is not the first time I lost my job. I'm middle aged, so I've been through it several times. Whether I got fired, I got forced out of a position, I resigned, I got laid off. This is the second time, and it's okay because through these transitions, you actually get to figure out who you are. It's a great opportunity to find out what you're made of, who you are now that years have passed and you've built this level of experience. Because I believe that what I believed 10 years ago may or may not be applicable now that I'm turning 40. As you grow, you age, you learn new things, you get new experience. A lot of people say that 40 is young. I've had haters in the comments tell me, oh, you're only 39, you're only 40, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, 40 is middle age. The average age that people die is 76. That's enough lifetime to figure out what's right, what's wrong, what's real, what's not real, what's all talk and what's real talk. And I think it's really important to understand that no matter what happens, no matter what people say, trusting your gut is a really good thing with using data and metrics and all these other ways to put it into a numbers, a quantitative ability to actually guide you and direct you. Because it's not fully all intuition, it's not fully all numbers. You need a combination of both. Now that I'm out of pharmacy, I've had multiple times during my career where people were telling me, you need to go into entrepreneurship. that I've been a good leader, I've been a good manager, I have the experience of managing large teams. But now that transitioning those skill sets from a corporation, or I would say a large organization, now to a business startup, it's a challenge because the stability of jumping into a system that's already defined is easy to swim with the current. Now that I'm jumping into entrepreneurship, I'm jumping against the current, and I have to figure out the system in the chaos and trying to figure out how to create efficiency, to create income that'll help me take care of myself and my family. Now, not only was my coworkers pushing me into business, but so was a lot of my friends and family. Reason being, because I've always had a side hustle. I've always had little small businesses I had on the side. 12 years old, I was a mobile DJ. I used to DJ parties, get paid, house parties, birthdays. I would just take the car and use it to go rock the parties, come back home. And yes, I was underage. I didn't have a license, and I just did what I did. Now, on top of that, other small businesses I started, I had a music production company when I was 18 called Boom Slap. That was really fun because me and a couple other musicians, we created a group to make beats for a lot of the artists in our neighborhood. So we were making money off of that. But we're also making jingles and getting them on commercials that you would see, like 30-second clips, things like that. And that was good for a while. After that, I jumped into vitamins because I come from a pharmacy background and I understood vitamins. So I created an Amazon business for selling vitamins online. Now, I couldn't sell them at my hospital because that would have been a conflict of interest. But I did take the knowledge I learned at work and used it to build my own system outside of work and create an income from that. And then after that, I sold that business, went into real estate, which I still do now for the past 7 years. And I buy a lot of properties, have a lot of rentals. I also have a vending machine company I got invited in by some of my friends, and they wanted me to be a part of their team and help out with growing the company. Now, I'm not telling you all these stories about the businesses and everything I was trying to do. I'm also not telling you about my businesses to show you that I jump from topic to topic, because that's not good also. But what I am trying to tell you and show you is the things that I've liked to do and the things I was good at and the things I learned from work. I use those to create systems for me outside of work because they sustain me now while I don't have a job. And so what's great about that is because even though it might not be a lot of money if you start off, for me, it was a small slope and it started growing. But it did allow me to learn how to create systems and create consistency out of the chaos. Because anytime you start something for yourself or you go into something new, it is going to be chaotic. Because like for me, jumping into a new situation, I don't understand it. So I need to understand how the system flows, what gears, what cogs need to be adjusted, what order in the puzzle pieces for whether it's a business or a new job. It's trying to figure out something that's stable. You build your security, and that's what's really cool. As I've started all these side hustles and now transitioned from actually working a W-2 to actually growing businesses, there's a few things that I have learned. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm just telling you what I've learned and what I've experienced myself and how it helped me understand what I need to do. And the first one is being that you could put all your eggs in a particular basket and it could be wiped away. I worked nearly 2 decades in pharmacy, and now that career is gone. Everything I knew, all my expertise, all my experiences, a lot of my connections from that industry are no longer relevant to my life. It's not bringing me money. So it's always good to have something side, even if it doesn't make a lot of money, but it does bring something and you enjoy it and you're good at it. It's something worth exploring, because who knows? It might blow up into something bigger. With the current economy like shifting so many which ways, you got to be careful. You got to be able to diversify, right? What they say in investing. But on top of that, you got to diversify your work skills. So like recently, I don't want to go too much into detail, but like one of my good friends, he ran a hedge fund a few weeks ago. It got wiped away. It was an 8-figure hedge fund. All the money was taken. in a matter of hours. And so it's always good to know that, yeah, you could make a lot of money in one area, but create something on the side. It could be coaching basketball, running basketball leagues. It could be running volleyball leagues. Or like for me, I really love music. I love video. I do marketing for the vending machine business. I do marketing for my real estate firm, and it's working out really great. So I took the skills that I'm good at, and I took the skills I like to do, and I doubled down on those. When I look at it and how the situation is playing out, I see it as life is like a basketball. Anytime the basketball bounces, it could go any direction. You don't know. But the more skills you have, whether you're trying to cross over, pass, do a layup, the more you know your skill set and what you can and can't do, the more you could control that ball. And that's how I see working and creating businesses and creating a life for yourself. As long as you have enough energy and enough air in you, you could direct life how you want to. You could direct your career how you want to. Don't get caught up in, oh, I lost the job. I know how it feels when you lose a job. You feel like you're worthless. You feel like there's no hope. Then you feel like every bill, every function that's expensive, every experience, every travel that you want to go on, it costs money, but right now you might not have the money. For me, I'm very fortunate that I have contingency plans built up. Now, it's not allowing me to do everything I want to do at the moment, but it is giving me the opportunity to be sustainable. Now, with that, as you're transitioning, everything in life is going to be uncomfortable. There is guilt, there is regret, there is shame. That's something you feel anytime something ends and you're not prepared for it. It hurts, it's scary, and it causes a lot of worry, right? I have experienced so many times. For me, one of the examples is back in 2019, I was let go of a management position, pretty much demoted, all right? Reason being is because I am an intense person and I like to drive results, and I called out a bully who was disrupting the whole team, and I essentially got canceled for standing the ground to protect myself and protect my team from a narcissist at work. Now, how'd that play out? I ended up getting demoted and I took a staff position at a different clinic, but haywire went all across the pharmacy after that because I was no longer in the control of the situation. And I'm not trying to toot my horn or anything, but to show you how it played out is they had to hire multiple supervisors to replace my one position. And that's no easy feat, especially in a large hospital setting. But seeing that play out let me know that I never stayed in my comfort zone. I was always willing to learn something new. I was always willing to grow, gain more skills, gain more experience. And that's what made me very effective as a leader and a manager. Because even if my team didn't know how to handle it, I would put myself on the line to go figure it out first. Bring it back to the team, discuss how it could work and help our team or how it would hinder our team. And it's the same way when you're losing a job and trying to figure out what to do next and how you're going to make a decision that's going to affect your own life or your family life and how it makes it better or it doesn't make it better. You have to have those discussions as well. Whether it's on the professional front and the personal front, conversation is very important. But in this time of transition, you got to take the leap. You got to stay out of your comfort zone and you got to push yourself to learn some new skills or develop the skills that you have potential or skills that people have identified in you that are potentially a source of income for yourself. And the point is that you got to be okay with getting outside of what you know, because if you stay in a box, you're going to stay in a rut. And what you're no longer doing is, imagine if you got laid off, fired, there's going to be 1,000 people just like you who's going to apply for that next position or going to start that next business. So you got to develop yourself because you need to stand out. It's important. Having a great career, having a great business, it's not about what you know, and it's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. So as I transition, I spent so many years, so much time networking with different industries outside of my chosen career. This allows me to actually pivot in multiple ways really quickly. When it came to real estate and I was flying around the country, meeting brokers, meeting property managers, trying to figure out how to invest, how to learn a specific city or market. I got to know who's who in that area. And they knew me as a real estate investor who had a group of medical professionals behind me where we all pulled our money and we bought apartment complexes. They made it so much easier for me building that new business because more brokers, more people who were selling properties are bringing their deals to me. And they're still doing it now. And it makes it easier. It makes it less work in the long run. In the short run, it sucks because you got to get around and network like crazy. And even in this vending machine business, I'm building a sales team where I'm training everyone to keep calling out, keep calling, let them know we're the premier vending machine business in the Bay Area and we have the biggest contracts in the area and the latest technology and no one will ever compete. That way, people start knowing who we are and it's actually working. 6 months into this business and now we're starting to get referrals from our other clients. So it's becoming a snowball effect because we don't know the people, it's the people are starting to know us. And that's bringing business in. So me getting fired, not being able to perform my duties, but having that experience and skill set actually expanded my ability in other areas. And what I focused on actually started coming to me because I focused on it and I actually took steps to do it step by step. You don't have to conquer the world in a day, but if you do one thing every day that helps make a system easier for yourself, then it's one less thing you have to worry about in terms of whether it's trying to get a career, right? If you're trying to get a new job, for example, you're not going to just slap on a simple resume. Everyone is going to do the same thing and no one's going to stand out. But if you actually list all your experiences, shoot it out, then you follow up with the call, then you may show up to the office to introduce yourself to the hiring manager. You might get a job. I did that at, how old was I? I did that at 22 years old. My very first pharmacy job, they didn't even call me for an interview. I submitted an application and 2 days later, I walked in wearing a suit and introduced myself to the director of pharmacy. I had just graduated in 2008, so the economy was shitty then. And that actually let me know that it was hard to get a job, but if you wanted to get a job, you had to go make it happen. That experience showed me, get out of your comfort zone, do the walk-ins, make the call, put a little bit more effort into what you're doing, and you will see results eventually, but timeline may differ. And for me, it's, if anyone's read the book, The Alchemist, I'll tag it down below, but The Alchemist is a really great book is because it's basically a book about manifestation, right? If you're trying to build something and you want something to happen in your life, you actually have to go out and go after it. Trust your hunches, but also have the skill set to navigate where you're going. And when you could do that, the results come. And sometimes it goes full cycle too. I'm not trying to give away what the book is about fully, but in the hindsight, when you collect all these experience at the age of 40 and you start looking at what you've done, what your skills at, what you've experienced, and you start putting that recipe together, you can figure out who you really are, what you like to do, and then what you're meant to do. And then it gives you a lot of guidance on what you need to do now and what's your next steps in the immediate moment. One thing to remember is nothing's 100%. Even when you're doing all these things, sometimes it might not pan out. It's just the luck of the draw, but you can't stop. A no means, okay, not this one. It means, okay, maybe I have to look somewhere else. In some cases, no means not yet, where it's not at this moment. You might not be ready, but you might be ready next year or the year after. So don't take it as a no, as it's terminal, it's the end, it's done, never that. It's just, you either get pointed in a new direction or you're not prepared. You don't have the essential skill set of what you need to get to the next level yet. And you need to build those skills so you can get to that next level. And one of the biggest ones that I've ever learned is execution. Taking action is the most important thing in life. You can't just sit back. You can't just wait for things to come to you. If that's the case, that's just like trying to live on unemployment forever. As a 40-year-old guy, who wants to do that? That's not a great thing. Guys like to be productive. We like to build stuff. We like to have cool experiences. So it's important that if you're in a transitional state like this, get active. And if you don't know what to do in the immediate of trying to either build a business or find a new job or how you can get income, get active, whether it's working out, putting out resumes and applications, whether it's starting the business plan and actually putting it together and starting to sell as quickly as possible. Whatever it is, take action immediately and take action every day. The reason why taking action is important is because no one's ever going to save you. No one's ever going to save me. I'm a 40-year-old man. Everyone's going to look at me and expect, hey, you should already have this figured out. Or it's a non-issue, go do it already. Which is, it's true and it's not true, right? Because when you're in the situation, it sucks. When you're out of the situation, look back at it, you'll say, oh, okay, I figured it out. We're good. We could keep it moving. And that's a really great feeling when you figured out your problems and you're able to deal with it. Taking action is important, especially at this age, because everyone has families. You got to pay the bills. You got to pay the mortgage. You got to pay for the kids. You got to put food on the table, pay for colleges, help the next generation out. At this age, for me, my parents are in their 70s. I got to get stuff moving because I know they're going to depend on me soon. And we're hustling, grinding every day, 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day, because I need to. It's not because I want to. And it's not a showboat. Everyone says, oh, you got to grind, you got to grind. And that's not the smartest way. To be honest, I don't like it when I have 16-hour days. That's why I get out of my comfort zone to build new skills to make my systems easier to deal with so my time collapses at work and I could be more effective and leverage the time so I have more time with my family. Taking action for me means not putting out fires. It means figuring out a system so the fires don't happen. Because for me, it's all about time. I need to go. I got a lot of things. I got 2 businesses. I need to make stuff happen. Whereas other people may have a situation, I need to find a job, whether I take a part-time and then build the business, or I need to find a career so I could pay for the kids and pay for the house. We're grown men. We're only loved because we produce. We're not loved unconditionally. And that's a true statement. You're not respected if you're not bringing something to the table. How many times we've congregated with all of our homies and been saying like, oh, that guy's lazy. That guy's a loser. He ain't doing nothing with his life. It happens all the time. And so taking action, even though you don't know your next step, even just working out, getting a great mental space, getting a great physical space, just do what you need to do so you're prepared to actually go out back into the world when you're ready and do what you want to do. Because if you don't go out and do this, you will never have security. Security is something internal. I find security through the ability to take control of situation and handle problems. That's where I find security. It's not having the 401k. It's not having the W-2 income. It's not having the benefits and the insurance coverage. It's being able to take destiny in my own hands and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Or here's a problem I'm faced with, and this is how I'm going to solve it. And in the case right now for myself is I don't have a stable income. It's all investor money and business money. And it's not where I'm at because I've been in a career for 17 years, so my income's really high. So now I'm in a stage where do I take away from my business so I could have the same income, or do I leave the business how it is but take a reduced pay? And so now I got to buffer and figure out how do I get back to where I need to be, right? And so I'm playing with it. I'm trying to figure out. I'm running spreadsheets, trying to do the calculations. But at the same time, I'm running fast, trying to build these businesses so that I can maintain the growth where they're at, take a draw from the businesses, and still match the income I'm at from my 2 decades at a hospital. Because this layoff came really quickly, and I knew it was coming because I've been hurt for a pretty long time. But it's still something I wasn't prepared for from a business standpoint. Like, my growth wasn't where I needed to be, so I could take a small salary from it. So I'm learning, dude, I got to shift. I got to run. I need to go. And it terrifies me. I'm going to be upfront, but it's a learning experience and I'm going to figure it out. What's coming up right now with all of this, it's with the chaos that's coming at me in all different ways. I see the only way to solve those problems is like a conveyor belt at a grocery store. And this is how I train my staff to deal with multiple things at once. Because in all essence, I don't believe in multitasking. I believe in hyper-focus. For me, I've seen that multitasking leads to a reduced productivity, and it actually makes the quality of the work or the execution not as good as what it really could be. And that's because there's no 100% focus on it. So I like to teach people, do the conveyor belt method. The smallest problems that come at you, knock them out the way. That way you could devote more of your time figuring out the bigger problems. Don't try to do all one here or there. It looks like someone's confused. They don't know how to handle. They don't know how to prioritize. It's just not a good thing to do from my perspective. Other people, they may be capable of it. I've hired so many women that they can multitask, but I can't as a dude. I like one and done right here. I'm gonna figure it out, knock it out, give me the next one. I'm gonna figure it out, knock it out, give me the next one. And I just keep going like a conveyor belt. And it makes it easier to deal with the bigger problems because now I don't have all these little knick-knack, patty-whack problems that come up and mess with me and distract me temporarily. They're already completed and I just focus. And the time frame I like to do these bigger tasks first thing in the morning. I don't like the rituals of, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta meditate, all that. I say that for the end of the day. I have an evening routine kind of just so I could decompress. It's not about, oh, if you do these things, you're gonna be a billionaire. No, hell nah. That shit's stupid. I believe get up, brush your teeth, get prepared, get to work as quickly as possible, and work on the hardest task or the most important task that's gonna bring you the best leverage to bring more income or revenue, whatever your goal is. That way, when you're done by early afternoon, you could put out all those little fires, and then your end of day time, you have time frame to decompress from the stress from the day. Now, a lot of the stuff I tell you is just from my personal experience. It's not about trying to say, oh, this is the way, this is not the way. It's literally a journal to myself. That way I look back when I'm 50, I could say, are these things still viable? Is this still relevant to what I'm doing in my life? And I could track the progress from when I was 30, 40, 50, 60 until the day I die. And that's all it is. If you really like it, if you don't like it, I don't really care. But if you do like it, definitely like and subscribe. Even share it if you think it would be helpful to someone else. Because this economy sucks. A lot of people are getting laid off. Interest rates are high. Politics are going crazy. So it's important everyone be able to focus on themselves, build their skills up so they could generate income in multiple ways. Whether it's having a career in a side hustle or losing a job, going full on in business. So with that, catch you later. Be easy.